All right, guys, so we're on our way to Charleston, South Carolina, and yesterday we got caught up in those big storms, that big storm that kind of went across the nation and it finally hit the East Coast. And so we actually had to delay our trip to Charleston from North Carolina just out of safety precaution. You know, we could have actually beat the storm, got to Charleston before the storm got there, but I really didn't want to be under a tornado watch and a tornado warning in a trailer. And so we ended up leaving the next day, but I mean, there's still some remnants of that stuff going on, you know, meaning the high wind. We actually had an 18-wheeler get completely toppled over by the wind. It's pretty crazy, but that just goes to show, I don't care what type of truck you have, half-ton, three-quarter-ton, one-ton truck, the wind can be king if you're not smart and if you're not in favorable condition. So that's something to be thinking about. But when we first took off, we've been driving maybe an hour now, hour and a half almost. But when we first took off, I mean, the wind was pretty rough. It was probably, well, the wind wasn't terrible, but it was stronger than what you typically see on the East Coast, meaning we're fluctuating between 15 to 20 miles per hour wind, excuse me, 15 to 20 miles per hour wind, and it was foggy and rainy. So conditions were not favorable. So that meant I had to slow down. Especially I have my family with me, much like the first or one of the previous videos I showed about towing a half-ton truck, towing with a half-ton truck, a 2800 VH Grand Design. You know, you can't be in a rush. You have to be willing to put your pride aside and understand when the situation requires you to make good decisions, right? And it's still kind of windy right now. I think I last checked, it was about 15 miles an hour wind. But as you can see, the daylight is coming out. It's not rainy, it's a little wet, but it's much more favorable, and we're going in the direction of the wind. Starting out, we were going against heavy crosswinds, wet trucks, tractor trailers, so it was rough. Like we do every trip, we started off, we weighed, went to the cat scale, make sure that was good to go, everything checked off, safe, within limits, good, legal, and then hit the highway. So. But again, guys, like I said in the last video, you know, people, you can't drive without any type of defensive mechanism or defensive decision making. You have to understand your conditions. This being a half-ton, it does great. These newer half-ton trucks are, I mean, they just do so much. But even still, with that being said, you have to use common sense, right? I saw there is a one-ton truck that was pulling a smaller fifth wheel that we passed, and obviously, you know, a one-ton truck with a small fifth wheel should be a piece of cake, and they came flying past me, and the wind completely ate their lunch. I mean, they were swerving, I mean, just all out of control, and eventually they completely slowed down and got to the right lane, and they did all that hustling and they did all of that driving fast to cover more ground, just to end up right in front of me and eventually behind me. You know, slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady is the safest way, especially when you have your family with you. And so, you know, I want you all to think about something too. For all of you guys who argue about, should we do half-ton, quarter-ton, whatever. At the end of the day, I want you to look at this video right now. I have my wife, my two kids, all asleep, all relying on me as the driver. And let's make it personal for you, all relying on you as a driver when you have your family to do the right things, to make the right decisions. So I would really encourage you all to think about that. You know, this is a great picture. Wasn't scripted. I just figured since they're sleeping, there's no one to talk to. Might as well talk to you guys. But you know, there's something to think. It's a great picture to see what your responsibility is. And then that's not even including all the folks around you on the road. So again, making sure that you can stay within your legal limits, making sure that you can stay alert, you're rested, you stay safe, put other people's, you know, safety in the forefront, if you will, be selfless in that standpoint, and have a good trip. You know, this is what it's about for me. You know, it's not just about the trip. It's really about getting to the destination, right? To have a good time, but you have to go through the trip process to get to the destination. And for me, as a father, as a husband, as the leader of my family, I enjoy this right here, the fact that they're comfortable enough to sleep. I'm confident enough in my abilities. I'm confident in my tow vehicle. I'm confident in my setup, but I'm also humble enough to adjust and know when something is too much or too big at this moment.